A couple of months ago I bought a new Aprilia SR GT 200. It's a great scooter, but the suspension isn't much good, especially at the front. I've now fitted some Hyper Pro progressive springs. I couldn't find any information at all about how to dismantle the forks. No videos, nothing on any forums, nothing at all. So I bought a Aprilia manual on a CD, and unfortunately there's nothing on that either. Here's the complete list of everything that's on the CD. There's nothing at all to do with suspension, chassis or brakes. I found this picture in a SR GT parts list. It's a bit weird because the completed fork on the right hand side doesn't look the same as the fork in the exploded diagram on the left hand side. Anyway, we can see in there in the drawing that there's parts 3, 4, 5. 3 is some sort of plug, 4 is a clip, and 5 is an O-ring. Here's some professional computer graphics showing how to get the plug out of the top of the forks. The first picture shows the plug in place. Second picture shows the plug being pushed down so the circlip can be removed. And in the third picture, the spring is pushing the plug right out because the circlip doesn't get in the way anymore. Here's my bike. The first thing I've got to do is raise the front wheel off the ground. There's a metal bracket sticking out the bottom of the scooter, which is ideal for jacking up. I used some concrete blocks and a block of wood. Perhaps a scissor jack would have been easier, but a little less stable. The front wheel is only about 1/4 of an inch above the ground, but that's plenty. First, the mudguard has to come off. It's held on by 6 T30 Torx screws. There's 2 at the back, which have got a nut on the other side. The 4 screws at the front thread into lugs on the forks. There's a clip for the brake line and the ABS cable. That's held on by an 8mm head bolt. The ABS sensor is held in place by 2 T25 Torx screws. A 6mm Allen key removes the 2 bolts holding the brake caliper in place. The wheel spindle has a 19mm hex head and a 17mm nut on the other side. Out comes the wheel spindle and then the wheel. There are little spacers each side of the wheel. The spacers don't really need to be removed, but I thought I'd put them aside so they don't get lost. Each fork leg is held in by 2 bolts with 12mm heads. Look what we've got! It's an Aprilia jet ski. I forgot to mention that I've tied the brake caliper out of the way using a bit of electrical cable. Now we've moved to the garage. I'm sure that old bloke knows what he's doing. On the right, in the vise, you can see my sash clamp. I'm going to use the sash clamp to push in the plug at the top of the forks. I put a little bit of shim behind the sliding bit of the sash clamp to help keep the sliding bit at right angles. These things are not brilliantly made. This 10mm bolt is just the right size. I've wound the clamp down far enough to expose the circlip. What I haven't shown is that I had to hold the stanchion with one hand while winding the clamp down with the other hand, because when you push the plug down it pushes the stanchion down as well. I used this very sharp scriber to get the circlip out of its groove. Hopefully you can see that the circlip is no longer there. unwinding the clamp with no circlip, and the plug comes out. The spring is under quite a bit of preload. It pokes out about 18mm above the top of the stanchion. Here's the plug and the circlip. Obviously I've already drained the oil out of the fork. The bottom spring is the original one, and the top spring is the Hyper Pro progressive one. The first thing you notice is that the original spring is 25mm longer than the Hyper Pro spring. I breathed a sigh of relief when I saw this sticker in the instruction book. It says, yes, the Hyper Pro spring should be 25mm shorter than OEM. In goes the Hyper Pro SAE 15 fork oil. The instruction book says the oil level should be 80mm. That's with the stanchion fully pushed home and no spring, of course. In goes the spring. Since the Hyper Pro spring is 25mm shorter than the original one, there's less preload. Pushing the plug back in is very easy. The circlip groove is exposed, and in goes the circlip. Now it's just a matter of releasing the clamp and then doing the same thing all over again with the other fork leg. As far as putting it back together goes, I'll just mention the torque setting for the fork bolts. I did a sort of educated guess, 20 foot-pounds. It's a 10.9 high tensile bolt, M8, going into a steel forging, so I think 20 foot-pounds is about right. Right, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this little slideshow.